Hello and welcome to the Dark Mount video review for Transformers Robots in Disguise 2015 Warrior Class Optimus Prime. Ghost dude. Spoilers. He dead. He dead. He flew into the Allspark well of doom and all that boohoo yada yada BS. Why do they even bother killing characters if they're literally going to bring them back off screen before the show even starts? Like, what's the point? We all knew Optimus wasn't going to stay dead anyway. Could have at least given it a season or two. Jeez. He's not a dump truck. Yeah, he's a truck with a trailer that just looks a lot like a dump truck. I don't know why he looks a lot like a dump truck, but he does. I guess they're running out of truck designs or something? I'm not entirely sure. He's a decent looking figure. He kind of does just look like legs with a truck attached to it. I mean, it's really unfortunate that they couldn't have done more to fill this back end stuff here up. His weapon does store up in here, and as I think it was Pia or Bolt Matrix or someone, maybe it was Emgo, was talking about how they didn't understand how they didn't just engineer it to fit in here somehow. I mean, there's any number of ways that it could have fit between these two legs and not stuck out like a giant shark fin on his back. And maybe even filled in this whole area. I'll be honest, if they had molded a weapon to fit into this space right here and filled in this gap, even if it was a little weird looking, I would have been fine with that. Be creative, Hasbro. This is fugly. I know it's kind of a kid's toy, and it's a younger kid's toy, so I don't want to be too super duper negative. This line is for a cartoon directed at younger kids, so I'm trying to judge this on the same, like, animated Prime level and not, like, Generations and Masterpiece level. This is obviously not a Masterpiece figure, but this is just a little lazy. I mean, at least give us some shield that plugs in on top of that or something. Like, do something. Come on. Yeah. I don't hate it. I don't want to sound super duper negative. I don't hate this. I don't hate it, but I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed basically from everything that's not this part. This part looks fine, and it's like, it almost looks fine from the side, and then you got all this kind of weird stuff on the back, and it's kind of lumpy looking, and then you look at it from the top, and it's just legs. It's just obvious legs. They didn't even try. So, I'm a little disappointed with that, but whatevs. Here is Wave 1 and 2 in their vehicle and beast modes. Believe it or not, transforming Optimus is even more simple than transforming Bumblebee. It's like 2 steps. You're going to take these whole side bits, fold them down, turn this around, split the legs, come up here, split the whole truck cab, fold that down, and these hand bits just plug in up there. And then you want to just fold the head out, which is kind of obvious, and then these shoulder bits kind of angle down, and you can really do whatever you want with them. I usually angle them kind of all the way, but that's totally up to you. And that's it. That's his whole transformation. This stuff back here doesn't do anything. These wheels nothing goes on here. He's just got giant thunder thighs. It's not even thighs, it's like thunder calves. He's got like calves of doom. His calf is wider than any point on his body. It's kind of ridiculous. Yeah. I like this design. I really do. I really love the design of Prime. I'm just really not a fan with the way that they did it. I'm kind of almost fine with all of this. All of this plugging in up here and that stuff, that's fine. I'm cool with that. That's simple. It's kind of straightforward. It all looks fine. I really wish that they had not scrapped this whole thing moving back, which is I think what happened. I don't know, because it's clearly kind of built to swing back, and then they made it not do that, so it's just Truck Fist. Fist of Trucky Doom. Whatever. His hand's kind of automatically bent upwards, so even when he is holding his handy-dandy murder axe, you're not seeing truck hand so much. I mean, you're still just seeing giant red block, but it's not like he's, like, holding it like that. So it's not terrible, but it's just, again, just not impressed. I feel like they could have done a little bit more with that, especially given the fact that it's Optimus and he's dead. They could have, like, you know, not put out a toy for him immediately and, like, worked on it more. Yeah. But anyway, he's got some silverish paint going on up there, which is nice. He's got a really nice kind of black matte plastic, I think it is. It might be painted, but I don't know. It's a very nice matted color, though. The legs and the blues and the reds and stuff are all a little bit more shiny. And that's really it. He doesn't have a whole lot of paint going on. He's got this orange on here, which is surprising because he doesn't have any other orange anywhere on his vehicle mode. And then he's got the silver and the red and stuff on the side for the vehicle mode. But, yep. His face sculpt is pretty standard. I mean, that's pretty much just Optimus Prime. There's nothing... It's a little bit more kind of angled outwards, like this way. Kind of flourishy, but meh. I mean, it's not enough of a design change that I'm like, oh, who's that? I don't know. I've never seen him before. That's Optimus Prime. Apparently it's Zombie Optimus Prime. I don't know. His articulation is kind of roundaboutiness. This articulates, I guess. He's got a ball joint here. So you actually don't, other than the transformation joint, you don't really get any outward movement on the shoulder, which is kind of lame. No hand articulation. Waist articulation, although this is really weird. Every time I go to turn the waist, like the waist is tight and these are not tight, so when I go to turn the waist, I end up kind of like turning the legs instead a lot of times, and I have to like hold up here or kind of, I don't know. First world problems. Be cautious, the legs might turn when you don't want them to. No feets. Upper leg swivel, obviously. Knee bends. Head rotation and up and down. This does click into place though, by the way, so it's... Some people are like, oh, it's falling back down. Just click it in more. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, I really like the design. That's my final takeaway from this, really. Is that I really like the design. And here you have a size comparison of all of the Wave 1 and 2 Warrior figures in their robot modes. And they're all generally the same size. Optimus is a little bit taller, but they're all generally the same size, width, mass, all of that. There's not a huge level of variance between these figures. Yeah, so like I said, that's really my final thoughts. My final takeaway from this figure is that I enjoy the design. I enjoy the figure as an action figure. I mean, he's a cool guy, I guess. I wish that his hands were different. I wish that his legs weren't so ridiculously massive. They are, I mean, it's cartoonish proportions, but it's a little bit ridiculously cartoonish proportions. And I really just wish that they had done more with his transformation and his alt mode. They're both just kind of blah. I mean, it's fold his arms up over his head and flap his legs up, and there, he's a truck. I mean, yeah, truck. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, there's not much to it, and I feel like for the size class and for the price, there could have been more to it. And especially considering all of the other Warrior class figures in this line They're not all super complicated, but none of them are quite this simple, and none of their alt modes look particularly bad. I mean, all of their alt modes are pretty spot on, and this guy has a really pretty iffy alt mode with giant gaps in it and stuff, and I really just don't feel like he's up to the standard of the line, I think is really my main problem. I feel like every figure in the first wave, and also Drift, who is in his wave, have a certain standard of quality, and he just doesn't really meet it. He falls a little bit short, which is disappointing because he's Optimus Prime and he's supposed to be, like, you know, the Autobot. So you would think that he would be the Autobot Transformer in this line, but I guess not. He's not bad. Again, I don't want to leave you with the false impression that he's bad or that I don't like him. I do like him. I was just expecting a lot more given how much I like all the rest of the Warrior figures in this line. And he's not quite as good as them, so it's a little disappointing. But yep, he's still not bad. I still recommend him. I just probably recommend him, yeah, last. I recommend him last. That's a shame. See you next time. Thanks for watching.